Hey guys, welcome to the Real Deal video blog. And this week I want to talk about the topic of forgiveness. So what do you think of when you hear the word forgiveness? It kind of sounds like the video that I'm about to shoot about forgiveness could be like the theme of a dramatic movie or something, right? Great to talk about, but not something that's super relevant to real life and more suited to a dramatic moment with people crying as they make amends to each other in a movie. But that's kind of accurate for the most part. But forgiveness is actually a really, really important part of recovery, and it is something that we need to talk about. Believe it or not, when it comes to staying sober, forgiveness is actually pretty much vital to that process. So why is that? Well, it has a lot to do with resentments and with making amends. Pretty much everyone comes into recovery with at least a few resentments, and usually quite a bit more than a few. And oftentimes they have good reasons. Other people really hurt them. Something really horrible happened to them. They just had bad luck. They got dealt a bad hand in life. And other times people have resentments that don't hold up quite as well. Sometimes the wrongs are imagined. And when you're experiencing the toxic feelings and the confusion and just the chaos of being an addict or alcoholic, it's pretty easy for some of these imagined wrongs to creep in as well. But the bottom line is people are usually full of resentments. It's usually a mixture of the types that I just talked about. And the thing about these resentments is they make people sick. These sick feelings just build a toxic pool of being, and it makes it very, very difficult to stay sober if you're holding on to all these resentments. And that is exactly why recovery programs have you take inventory and make amends. So what does that mean? That means taking stock of all your resentments, all these things that you're angry about, that you're still holding a grudge about, even though it happened 20 years ago. And that means taking them and writing them down, going through everything, point by point, line by line, figuring out who you're mad at, who upset you, who hurt you, what they did to you. It's simple, right? All you have to do is make a list of all the people who screwed you over, everything that upset you. But that's not the end of the story. The next part is a little bit trickier. The next step is looking at what your part in each situation was. And I can feel you saying to yourself right now, what did I do? I didn't do anything wrong. It was this other person who screwed me over. And this part isn't fun at all. And it's really difficult to take a look at this stuff. Because sometimes you don't feel like you did anything wrong, and maybe you're mistaken. Maybe when you really look at it, you did do something a little bit wrong. And sometimes, you really didn't. But the thing is, you've got to look at each resentment, at each situation, and see whatever your part was, no matter how small it is, no matter how little blame that you deserve. And it's important to get this stuff down. And then comes the process of making amends. You go through each item where you did something wrong, where you played a part, and you approach the person or people that were wronged, and you make things right with them. You humble yourself and you make things right in whatever way that you can. This is an old process. It started with the beginning of Alcoholics Anonymous almost 100 years ago. Probably even existed in some form before that. And the reason why it's still around and the reason why millions of people have gotten sober successfully through this process is because it works. You will find that something crazy happens when you go through this process. Not only does it repair relationships, bridge gaps with people, I've seen family relationships rebuilt when people finally admit what they did wrong to their family members and truly make things right. It's amazing to see. But Addiction does cause quite a bit of collateral damage, but there is a crazy, crazy side effect that happens with all this. You'll find that in the process of looking at resentments, looking at your part, and then making things right, that you learn to let go of those resentments. And it doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes it can take a long time to happen, but one day you look back on all those resentments, all those people who you held grudges against, these resentments that were making you sick, and you'll find that you're able to forgive them.